Okay, so I'm going to go over for you guys the argument essay. I'm going to go over what steps I would take to get started and give you guys a jump start with your introduction and putting together your paragraphs. So we start with the prompt. So was George's decision to kill Lenny justified? You have to say, yes, he did the right thing, or no, he did the wrong thing. He shouldn't have done what he did. So you have to first make that decision. So step one is to decide if you agree with his actions or don't agree with his actions. And if you have something like I think or I feel, get rid of it, okay? Cross that out. Just, we know you think and feel these things because this is your word. These are your words. So George's actions are, or George's actions are not. Make a decision about one of those two. And this will become your thesis statement. So this becomes your thesis. This becomes the basis for your paper. Everything else you're gonna, write to prove whether he was or was not justified. All right, 2, after you make your decision about if he was or was not justified, you need to collect evidence. So proof, why do you think what you think? I would aim for 4 to 6 pieces of text evidence. Does this mean you're gonna use all 6? No, but you might use 3, 4, 5 pieces, absolutely. Okay, so find in the book, write them down on a note card, write them down in a notebook, mark them with the pages, put a sticky note in the page to mark the page number if you find it, so that you are collecting this evidence. You have it, you know what page it's on, you can put it in MLA format, you don't lose it and have to go digging for it later on. And then this text evidence is the proof that proves your thesis. So make sure that your evidence does reflect what you're saying. If you find a piece of evidence that does the opposite, well, you could still use it actually. You just have to be careful how you use it. You could use it in your counter argument, but just make sure that you're not using text evidence incorrectly. Step 3, I would do an outline, even if it's a really quick outline, and I will show you my outline. And my outline is very, very basic. You can do a little bit more, but outline it. So decide, what am I going to talk about in body paragraph 1? What am I going to talk about in body paragraph 2? What evidence is going to go where? If you collected 4 pieces of evidence, how are you going to organize that evidence to put it in your paper so that your paper has organization and flow? And then start writing. Just start writing out your draft. Get the words down on paper. Get your thoughts out. Get your evidence in there. Try to follow the structure provided, so that will be less work for you later on. But write out your draft. Get it down. Write it down. Type it up. Then edit, revise, rewrite as needed. Do a spell and grammar check. Woo, zoom in. Do a spell and grammar check, please, before you turn this in with misspelled words or lack of capitalization where you need it. Do that quick step. The computer basically does it for you. You just have to press the buttons. So read through it, proofread it to make sure it makes sense. Make sure that it sounds good. And then you should be done. So come over here to my computer. Ooh, that's very bright. Let's see if we can, I don't know how we turn that down a little bit. Ooh, okay, there we go. I'll turn it. Okay, so at the top, let it get, okay. You are going to make sure that you have your MLA format here. Put your name, first and last, put my name, put the class, and then put the date that you write it. In the middle, not bolded, not underlined, you want to put a title. And the title should not be Of Mice and Men, because that title's already been taken. You read a whole story about it. So you need to come up with a unique title. The Justification of Taking a Life. That is a quick off-the-cuff title that I just came up with that, makes sense with what we are doing. And then here is an example of an introduction. I wanted to give you an example of introduction because sometimes getting the ball rolling is the hardest part, and we don't want to forget about some important pieces. So remember to start general about the topic, and then build towards the story and build towards your thesis. You need to include the author's name, and you need to include the title of the book, and you need to make sure that it is italicized. That's italicized. It might be hard to tell, but it is. And then you should have your thesis. So some people say taking a life, no matter the reason, is wrong and unjustifiable, especially if that person is defenseless or not trying to cause harm to others. Others do not see life as so black and white. They realize that taking someone's life may be the kinder thing to do. In John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, the main character, George, has made this decision for someone he cares for like a brother. George decides to take Lenny's life in the end because he knows Lenny would face a harsher reality if he were caught. George makes the blank decision to kill Lenny because Lenny would suffer far worse if he were to survive this moment. So let's pause there. I left that blank because what does it sound like? Does it sound like I'm saying George's actions are justified or are not justified? Take a moment and make sure that that's clear to you. So this is just an example. In this example, I am going with a speculation that George's actions are justified. So in that blank, I would put that they are justified. Now, this becomes my thesis statement, right? This is my argument. I have a because statement in there. I left it very general. You could always have your 3 points justified because A, B, and C. I just said because Lenny would suffer far worse if he were to survive this. Now, I may go, if I were to write this out as a final piece, I might go through this and clean it up a little bit, get rid of some redundancy, maybe change out some wording. But this is my draft that I feel confident going forward with. And I have, my general idea on the subject. I introduced the book and the main characters and what's happening in the book as it pertains to the prompt. And then I have my thesis statement that is a clear yes. You can't go in the middle here, kids. I know you sometimes want to be like, well, yes and no. Nope. This is an argument paper. Make a decision and go with that decision. So you have to be decisive. I get it if you have a back and forth. Yes, we all can see both sides, but in this particular type of writing, you need to make a choice. All right. And then here is just a very, very rough outline because I don't have any collected evidence. But body paragraph 1, I would write about what would happen if Lenny was caught. So I might include text evidence of things, how people have treated Lenny in the past, situations Lenny has gotten into the past, and infer what that would lead to. Maybe things that have happened to other characters that we hear about, or the way that characters act towards Lenny, I would use as my evidence. What would happen, paragraph 2 would be what would happen if Lenny did something like this again. Again, we're inferring based on what he's done before. So with the mice and the rabbits and the dogs and the girls and things that he's done that who's to say this couldn't happen again or a worse situation. And then body paragraph 3, I would provide a counter argument. So if I'm saying he was justified, in body paragraph 3, I have to think about the opposite. I have to think about, okay, his actions were not justified and what someone would say if they were saying that they were not justified. And then I have to knock down that argument. So someone might say that he shouldn't have killed Lenny because this, and this, and then prove why those thoughts are wrong. And you want to be careful here because you don't want to be redundant with what you've already said. So make sure that you've thought out something new or different to add to this conversation. And then your conclusion, you're restating your thesis in a new way. Sum up the ideas in your paper, and then if you can, provide a final thought on the topic. And then again, you want to revise your work and everything. Oops, sorry. Let's see if I can turn the camera on me. I might be upside down. Am I upside down right now? I honestly don't know. I think I'm good. I was sideways before. So if you guys have questions or need further help, we can do some Zoom type conversations, and feel free to email me to check your work. And anything else you guys need, just let me know, okay? And I will see you guys soon. All right, bye.